Sam Logue here for Green Blood Boxing. Today it's an honour, to be honest, to be joined by one of the most decorated amateur boxers of all time from Ireland. It's Jono Nevin. Jono, how are you doing, man?
Very good, Sam. Yourself, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. You know yourself, day by day, getting through it. You know. Look, it's
Yeah.
as I said, it's an absolute pleasure to be joined by yourself. Obviously, one of the best amateurs we've ever had. And obviously looking to kind of really to kick on with your pro career now, which we'll obviously get into. The first thing I want to touch on is obviously the big news. You've signed a management deal with Billy Joe Saunders just recently, and actually had a fight announced as well for April on an MTK Global show. Just talk to me about the deal with Billy Joe, and first of all, like, how do you feel and how relieved are you to get that kind of deal?
Yeah, it's something I've needed. I've been like in a stop-start career due to lack of a promotional deal or getting injuries. You can't help the injuries that come, but lack of promotional deals and whatnot in my career. But I think Billy Joe is the right man to be with. I was this kind of time of my career. I'm 31 years old, 32 in June, as a matter of fact. So time is not on my side. I've still 2 or 3 good years left of me. So hopefully he moves me quick.
Definitely. But then I suppose the other part of that is you haven't had that many fights. You haven't got that many miles on the clock in your professional career as of yet. So, you haven't had too many miles, as I say. So maybe you still have a lot more left in you than you think. We'd like to think so. Anyway.
Yeah. As my dad often says to me, I'm like a new car getting brought out of a garage and just getting lined up.
Yeah.
The mileage is not on the clock, so I've plenty there.
Yeah,
there's boxers younger than myself, and they're fit to retire. But I've had no mileage at all. The only toughest fight I've had was the ranking one there gone by, and then this COVID stuff started, and then another stop to my career. So it's been tough, but I'm going to move on this year now, and hopefully I get that title. I've always wanted to be a world champion, so just to have my hand raised and said, and the new world champion, it's
100%.
It's just a dream of mine.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's obviously something that you're very confident of achieving now that you have the likes of Billy Joe backing you. So I want to explore that kind of a little bit. Like, what did Billy Joe kind of promise you? Obviously, you had to, obviously he pitched a certain kind of career trajectory to you. He obviously told you he was going to do this, going to do that. So what was it that he kind of promised you, and what was it that made you sign with him?
Well, I'm rated number within the 2 main sanctions, IBF and the WBA now.
Yeah.
So it don't take much to push me to the world champion, but you need the proper backing, the promotional thing.
Yeah.
Things. So he's offered me like two fights, step up fights, because to get the ring rust off and whatnot, and then push on and look for that world title fight. And again, he's mentioned one that has always been at the back of my mind, when I went pro, was a rematch with Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
In the pro game. So that's something, that opened my eyes straight away. And there's so many big names out there and big fights for me. You've got Carl Frampton, you've got Oscar Valdez, who I've beaten in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Jojo Diaz, who's been at my weight in the Olympics, and the Cuban beat him.
Yeah.
So there's so many big names out there for me. And if I left someone out, excuse me, but I'm just really excited,
Definitely, yeah, and I think you have reason to be excited as well. Are you looking for, or was it ever discussed that Billy's obviously with Matchroom now? Are you looking to kind of maybe force some sort of link there with Matchroom, maybe even a promotional deal after, pending maybe a couple of good wins, or a couple of just wins in general back on the board, and then maybe look to get some sort of deal, or even to fight on some Sky Sports shows? Is that kind of something that you're a possibility?
There's so many options there. I'm just, I'm going to leave it all in Billy Joe's hands. I'm just going to go in and do the boxing, and I'm sure he's going to look after me really well. So the opportunities are there. They're there to be taken. So my end of the bargain is I do the boxing.
Yeah, that's it. So talk to me about this, your fight you have coming up. It's the back end of April. I think, is it the 27th? I may have the date wrong, but it's the back end of April, right?
The 17th of April, yeah.
17th of April, sorry. I knew there was a 7 in there somewhere. have there any opponents on the table, or what type of fight are you looking for? Like pretty much just
I
a
think
run out, or
yeah, I think they've named someone Sean Cooper.
okay,
He's 10-2. It's at the
not bad.
weight above what I will be fighting. It's at lightweight.
It's that
So
lightweight, okay.
it's yeah. So put it this way, he's not a journeyman, but he's not going to be world champion material. You know.
I get what you mean. So is that the kind of, do you want like a one or two of them fights just to kind of, as you said, to shake a bit of the ring rust off and just to kind of get in there again and kind of feel your way, kind of get back to your level as such by kind of
Yeah,
having a couple of them fights?
that's it. You know, you can do all the rounds of sparring you want. I've been out of the ring for what, 16 months, 17 months.
Yeah.
So you can do all the sparring you want, but as it says, the fights bring you on. You think you're at the bee's knees and the sparring and things, but then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, then the fight comes and you're not as sharp as you think. So the more fights, the merrier for me. I always progress better. You know, in the amateur days, according to competition was going on, and I was getting better through the competition.
Yeah.
So the more fights, the better.
What do you think if we want to explore the ring rust thing a little bit, like what do you think it is? What is that? What is ring rust as such, do you think? Like, because you could be sparring well in the gym, even though you haven't boxed, say, in 18 months, but then you get into the ring and is it timing, or what do you think it is exactly?
It's the timing, but the timing could be there in the sparring, but
yeah,
the adrenaline is not there, and the nerves is not there in the sparring the same way there will be on fight night. So that's you know, the build up to the fight, and as it says, the adrenaline. So it's a big difference, mate. It's a big difference.
Kind of a lot. I feel like a lot of it's psychological. It's a very big psychological shift. The pressure and, like you said, the adrenaline, and there's obviously, it means something, whereas sparring doesn't really.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. I want to chat a little bit about your pro career so far. You've obviously touched on it. It's been a bit of a slow career, I think, fair to say, you know, and considering that you were such a decorated amateur, you know, coming out of 2012, obviously then won the European Championships in 2013, you know, two-time bronze medalist at the World Championships, obviously two-time Olympian, and obviously medaling silver medal that time in 2012. What do you think the reasons are for kind of not being able to hit the ground running into your pro career? What do you think that was?
Again, I was moving nicely. I turned professional after I won the gold medal in the Europeans and was rated #1 as an amateur.
Yeah.
Got on a big show, a Golden Boy show straight away. They wanted to sign us, but the deal wasn't right, so we're going to hold off. Make my pro debut under a Golden Boy card, main event of them, matter of fact, and then get at the attack starts with the golf clubs to the legs. 2 weeks later. So that put a dent in it straight away. Then I kind of went off the rails. You know, 1 minute you're on top of the world, the next minute some doctor sitting in a chair with a suit on him is telling you, go home, you're never going to fight again. So you imagine how that felt for me.
100%.
But it took no one was going to drag me out of that whatever swing I went into or whatnot. It was down to myself to bring myself back and show these guys that, you know, I still have it and I can be world champion. So that's one of the reasons I want to be world champion, is to go back over to that hospital and just, you know, ask for that doctor to call that doctor out and just say, I thought you said I wouldn't fight again.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a nice thing to hear and things from that. But after what happened to me with my legs and things, it just messed up my head for a little bit, and I went off the rails. Nobody put me off the rails. I had a few incidents, you know, drunken incidents, and thank God I'm away from all that stuff now. But it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I learned from, you know.
Yeah, 100%. You have to take those things and kind of, as you say, use them as experiences and move on from them. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine that it was a very difficult time psychologically after that, after the attack and stuff. I mean, look, it's not something I want to go into too much. I want to talk to you about boxing because you are a boxer and a very good one at that. But it's it must have been very difficult psychologically for a large period of time. So I mean, I think you've already maybe surpassed what people thought you could do by just getting back in the ring and having many victories since that. So fair play to you on that one straight away. But Yeah, it's just an interesting thing that I wanted to talk to you about. But there is obviously a lot that went on that kind of that did affect your ability to kind of move quick, and that's why you obviously had a bit of a stop-start career. But I'm interested in your kind of training team at the moment. Like, who's training you? I believe it's Jim McDonald, is it?
Jim McDonald, I'm going to tip out there soon to I've been training here with my amateur coach and things
Yeah,
back here, and because of the lockdown and
of
all that.
course. Yeah,
But
of
yeah,
course.
we're going to head back out to Jim McDonald. He really suits me as a boxer. I've all the skills in the world. You can teach somebody. Like, I've been in America, so I've learned all the little Philly tricks, as to say, out there
Yeah,
in Philadelphia.
yeah,
But Jim McDonald is the type of person that, when I need 100% fitness, he'll give me 110.
yeah.
So it's things like that I need to build up in the engine, going into the later rounds. And Jim is the man to be with. Too.
Yeah, he's very well known for his for his intensive fitness training, isn't he? Like, we all
Yeah.
heard the stories about James DeGale, etc. So yeah, so what does your kind of what's it going to look like for you going forward? Are you looking to kind of spend long periods of time out there working with Jim, or is it going to be more kind of just camp, for say 8 to 10 weeks, etc.? And when are you looking to get over there now? Or
I'm going to head out there next week.
okay,
Again, I'll stay out there for a number of weeks after the fight, even till the next one is announced. Go home for 1 or 2 weeks to visit the family and
very good.
back out again, because I've got a feeling that this is just not. This is going to be just once it starts, it's going to go right through.
Yep.
Please God, touch wood, no injuries. I've got that feeling, the way the boys is talking to me, that we're going to hit the ground running here.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great to know, and really good to hear. Um, are there any kind of names that you're aiming for? I mean, I think we have a very interesting division here in Ireland. Super featherweight's an interesting one. You've got Anthony CACACE, who's obviously the British champion, but an Irishman. Eric Donovan is kind of floating around there. He's had a couple of good fights. He's obviously going to campaign mostly at a featherweight, but has fought ZELFA Barrett at super featherweight. You also have Jono Carroll, who I know has been on the end of your tongue recently. What do you think of some of those matchups? And I think specifically Jono's a big fight because he likes to talk as well, and he's obviously had some good wins.
No, mate, I have to cut you off there about John Carroll. As John Carroll said to me, he brings nothing to the table for me now. He's not rated with none of the big names. I am rated now, and he ain't. So he's gone. He's
okay.
He's to build his way back up again, as he said for me. So let him go and build his way back into the top 15, and then we might give him a chance.
Okay.
But the other guys, all of them, tremendous fighters, tremendous guys, and I just want to fight anyone, anyone that comes in front of me. They're in my way. Yeah, we can be friends afterward, but in that ring, they're standing in the way of what I want, and of course, I'm standing in the way of what they want. But again, I want to fight anyone that's reasonably going to take me another step far or closer to the title.
Yeah. Okay.
And have a go at them.
So there's no particular names and no matchups that interest you, like as such, in Ireland or even in the UK. There's a few good guys obviously floating around your weight class in the UK as well. The likes of Joe Cardenas, ZELFA Barrett. You also have Martin J. Ward, who the Irish fans would know as well, fought James Tennyson, Sam Bone, Archie Sharp. These are good fighters. Any of them interest you?
All of them, they're tremendous guys, and their records speak for themselves. And it's exciting times for the super featherweight division, isn't it? There's
really
so
is.
many great fighters in there, and we all want the one thing. We're all aiming for the one goal, but unfortunately, it don't work out that way. There's only going to be one or two that can take that spot.
100%.
And
100%.
I'm as fresh as a daisy. I'm ready to go.
Definitely, man. Yeah, you 100% are. A couple of fights in now, and I would love to see it in one of those ones. I'd personally love to see one or two that you're probably just to shake the rust off a little bit, and then into say someone like an Archie Sharp or someone like that. You know what I mean? Because it would be a step up from what you had fought, and it's kind of a world ranked opponent as well. The likes of an Archie Sharp is top 15 with the WBO, I believe. Those kind of guys, ZELFA Barrett, these kind of well known English names, but they're not world championship level at the moment, but they're big fights, in their own right at the moment, as a on the way to that world title. That's kind of that kind of route that I see that would be a really good route for you. What do you think of that kind of thing?
But there's one of them names that's going to be in the ring with John Nevin anyway. Whichever one it is, they're one of the big names that's going to be, you know, an eliminator for the world title, or
Yeah.
you know, it's going to work out that way. But which one we don't know yet. And I'm not going to just name one boxer more certain than the other. They're all tremendous fighters, every last one of them.
Yeah.
Everyone, even Jono Carl. You know, he's
Yeah.
not rated in the top 15, but you have to take a hat off him. He might think I'm a bit of a piece of cake for him to walk through, but you don't look at guys like that. Look at Maxie Hughes.
Yeah.
Maxie Hughes. So they're all good lads. They're all standing in the way of what I want, and you know, it's just making the times exciting for me. You know,
Definitely.
makes me want it more and go out there and train my ass off.
100%, man. Can I ask you about that? That was interesting that you brought that up. Obviously, Jono had a surprise defeat to Maxie Hughes, and I suppose around that time you had some back and forth with Jono. But what did you think? I'm sure you saw the fight. Like, what did you think when you saw that, and what did you think of kind of how Jono performed, and you know, what were your thoughts on it?
Jono didn't perform great whatsoever. I think Jono needs, as he said after that, he needs the crowd to get behind him. The crowd can't do your fighting, mate. The crowd cannot do your fighting. I just think he took his eye off the ball, and he didn't respect the opponent. That's Jono's downfall. You know, he doesn't respect anyone. You know, I think the only boxer he did respect was Kevin Farmer, and I was there. I was there that night, and fair play to him. He put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
A hell of a fight. And, you know, it's guys like that, and guys like Kevin Farmer, when you go in there and you do well against them, that's where you make your name. And Jono made a good name from there, but he didn't respect the opponent he come up against. You know, Maxie Hughes, he's obviously wanting that fight as well. He's training his ass off. You know, he mightn't just have the luck that Jono had, but he's a good fighter.
100%. Yeah.
That's what I think of it.
Excellent. It's great to get your your views on these kind of things. Interested in, obviously, just signed with Billy Joe. Billy Joe was fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez for the unified super middleweight world titles on the 8th of May. Is it a possibility that you could be on the undercard?
Oh man, I'm hoping.
That
I'm getting asked that all over.
Stuff of dreams, eh?
Yeah, but obviously Billy Joe's another fighter there as well. He's going to try to get us on, or hopefully picks me out of the two to get on if he gets a choice. But he's no control of that. I'd say, you know, Alvarez will have his own few fighters there as well. He's the main man at the minute, and hopefully I get on it. I'd love to get on it, but you know, you just have to put me in bad form there again. Don't go too or thinking too far ahead. I have to get past this opponent first.
Yes, 100%, man. So we'll move away from you for a second. I'm interested in what you think of that fight. Obviously, Billy Joe is someone who you've become closer to, and obviously someone you're going to work with. But a very tough fight with Canelo Alvarez. How do you kind of see the fight going, and what do you think of Canelo as an opponent for Billy Joe?
Canelo is an animal, mate. You know, he's the best at the minute. Before I even signed with Billy Joe, I said it. There's one boxer style that can beat him is Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Saunders. Look what Mayweather did to him. Then Canelo's come on since that. I know, like, he's come on heaps and bounds, but I think I'll favour Canelo, but don't write out off Billy Joe. Yeah. Don't write him off. You know, he's that kind of style, and he's fire. You know, he's a lot of fire in that belly of his.
100%. Yeah, he is definitely, and he is, like, it's kind of an overused cliche at this stage, but you know, you do hear it, and it is true. Billy Joe does perform a lot better when he's in against better opposition. He just does. It's just throughout his career, he just has done. So we're hoping for a big one there. So I want to ask you about two more fights, and then I'll let you go, John Joe. And I really do appreciate your time today, Ben. Obviously, a big one that's relevant for us here in Ireland. Carl Frampton is going to fight Jamel Herring for the WBO super featherweight title. Obviously relevant to you specifically because it's your weight class as well. How do you see that fight going? And tell me about it.
Tough fight, very tough fight for Carl and Jamel. But I'd love to see Carl win it, but I can't pick or choose a winner. But I'd love to see Carl doing it.
Yeah,
you know, it'd be great for Irish boxing. It would be tremendous.
Yeah, our first 3-weight world champion from the island of Ireland would be absolutely amazing. Do you have any kind of opinion on how Carl gets it done? Obviously, fighting a very big man in Jamel Herring. Do you think there's kind of stylistically a way he gets it done?
Carl's just that punch behind him, he can take anybody out. Carl will be up for it. Carl will be up for it, but I don't know. I think he has to do it inside the distance, though.
Really? Okay. You just don't think that he can kind of outpoint Jamel?
Your man is big.
Yeah,
very big.
He's really, really big. He's like unnaturally large for someone of that in that weight class. He's massive.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, and then the last one I just wanted to ask you about was Fury Joshua. Obviously, it looks like it's
Fury.
Yeah,
Fury all the way. Fury all the way.
I did think that that you would perhaps back your fellow traveling man, but
yeah.
But of course, two superstars in Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. They fight. They're we're not really sure. They're kind of saying, oh, it's signed, but they haven't really announced it. There's no broadcaster yet. There's no venue yet. But it seems like it's on track and it's on its way to being announced. Talk me through how Tyson Fury how Tyson Fury gets the job done, in your opinion.
I think it'll be an easy night's work for Fury. Taking nothing away from Joshua, he's a great fighter. I've not seen nothing better since Muhammad Ali's days. Till now, till Fury. I've looked at all heavyweight boxing coming through. Go back in the past, well before I was born. Ali was the man. His style. Fury reminds me of him, and he's a bigger man than Ali ever was.
Oh yeah, he's probably almost like twice his size. Almost, he's massive. Eh?
And plus he can talk and sing, can't he?
Yeah.
So
he's the full package, isn't he, Al Tyson? He always entertains. One more that kind of popped into my head. I was thinking about this before. I'm interested in kind of as a traveling man, boxing is very big in the culture, in the traveling culture. And I'm wondering, like, have you ever kind of thought about that? Like, how important is that to you as a traveler, boxing in your culture? It's a really big part of it, right?
Yeah, it's been a big part of my life, anyways.
Yeah.
It's always good to represent your traveling people, but I'm Irish as well. So
100%, man. Yeah, 100%.
To represent everyone from Ireland, and it's just an honor. Some guys, some Irish, you get the typical Irish guy that be hating on someone doing well, but you're representing your country, no matter what, no matter where you come from, which walk of life. And just, I'm a traveler, but I live in a house. So what's different to me than any other person is the way I look at it. I'm proud to come from a traveling background, but myself, I live in a house myself. So am I a traveler?
Absolutely, mate. And it's not something. It's not me trying to kind of separate you or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't mean it in any kind of negative way. Actually, if anything, I mean it in a positive way. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
No, 100%, because like the traveling community is obviously, it's a culture within Ireland, and I think it's just for me, it was interesting to kind of speak to that. We see it seems to be very deeply attached to the traveling culture. You know what I mean? Boxing, and we see it in many different formats. But look, I just wanted to get your take on that. But obviously, no man has represented Ireland better than you have, John Joe. You know what I mean?
Cheers, buddy.
In the amateurs, no, well, 100%. It's credit where credit's due, you know what I mean? But look, that's all I have for you tonight. But I really, really appreciate your time, and I hope we can catch up again soon, either before or after your fight on the 17th of April, as you said, on the NTK Global show. So look, best of luck, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Sam. Anytime.